All right, so that was an aggressive one, huh? Today's video, we are doing YouTube comment reacts. Now, I haven't really looked at a ton of these, but I think if I'm correct, this is a lot about the current upcoming tank changes, based off of what I'm seeing. So it's gonna probably talk a lot about what's upcoming for tanks and like what people's thoughts are, which is good to know. I definitely want to see that. Yeah, let me know what you think. Obviously, leave like your hot takes, your comments in the YouTube section, so we can kind of continuously add on to more of these awesome videos we've been doing with YouTube, which has been fun. So the first one we have here is from DJ saying, tank passive buffs are terrifying but justified. Excited for Junker Queen meta after the Command and Shout buffs. Also mentioned an Echo buffs in the same sentence as Junkrat buffs is downright criminal. Still excited for Rap buffs though. Wow, that's all over the place in that one. Tank passive buffs I'm still very interested on. It really comes down to is some heroes will benefit more from that than others when it comes to tanks, right? Like, it's easier to be out of combat for 5 seconds on, let's say, Wrecking Ball, even D.Va, Winston, if you really want to, in comparison to heroes like Rein. So, what the benefit will be for every tank is still yet to be seen, but I'm excited to see that because it's a major change. Right now, this is, from a comment point of view, one thing I will say is I do hope that all roles can still have fun. My one concern is that, like, it makes tanks, like, ridiculous, and this is coming from a tank player. I just want to make it so everybody has fun, because, you know, obviously we just had 3 months of where tank did not feel fun, so... Well, not fun, but it just didn't feel like you were doing anything. You're just sitting there. I agree, by the way, on the Junker Queen meta. I think Queen being... Maybe it's a hot take because I like playing Queen, but when Queen is being played a lot, you have some good metas. It's a fun time. So I'm excited for that. For anybody wondering what that means about the Junker Queen meta buff, when you use one of your cooldowns now, like let's say you're using your axe, you can also use Command and Shout at the same time to give you that overshield, which is going to be super effective, right? Normally, you'd have to use Shout and then that. Now you can kind of have these much more surprising plays and a bit more survivability. Plus, I think a damage increase. And then the Echo buffs, I can't wait. Because in top 500, Echo's already good. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm excited too. I don't know where it's going to go just yet, but I'm excited for it. All right, we have the Shape in here. Says 50% knockback reduction is music to my ears as a Hog main. Using whole Hog on their tank is going to be wonderful. Actually, you're right. I didn't even think about that. The knockback reduction for Hog is going to be really good because, like, remember when you were like a gold as Orisa? Like, even the 50% damage reduction or knockback reduction is actually going to be good for a Hog ult. You're not wrong, which is, I didn't even think about that, where Roadhog Ultimate actually will benefit from this. It's a very interesting, you're right. And then they say, D.Va might be the biggest winner in this patch. Biggest headshot hitbox and lots of armor. She's going to be extremely hard to take down. I will agree with D.Va certainly benefiting from this. Keep in mind, some of the projectile heroes, though, do benefit from these armor changes. So it's kind of one of those, like, back and forths now where it depends what projectile heroes are being played. For example, if Echo ends up being really good, D.Va could struggle a little bit more, right? Because even with that armor, I think Echo actually will be fine against the armor. If it's a hit scan meta, then I think D.Va will benefit greatly. I mean, pretty much with any hit scan meta. If it's not a hit scan meta, it ends up being a bit more of like a, you know, an Echo Sojourn type meta. Keep in mind, even though Sojourn's like damage, like the regular shot, is nerfed a little bit because of the armor, guess what? Railgun gets buffed. So that is why I'm still hesitant to be like, oh yeah, we're going to see a huge D.Va meta. Doesn't mean there won't be. But if there ends up being like a Sojourn Echo meta, which is very feasible, especially in top 500, D.Va may not benefit as much because the projectile heroes are getting a slight buff. Sojourn has really good mobility to get away from a D.Va dive. Orisa will not benefit as other tanks because she already has headshot protection from her cooldowns, and her uptime is higher than other tanks. So it's less likely for her to use the healing passive. Actually, we just talked about that. Yeah, some tanks won't get the healing passive as much, so you won't see it as much. But I think Orisa's... I'm okay if Orisa kind of just stays in the spot Orisa's at now. Not a must pick, not terrible. You can play Orisa if you like playing Orisa, but you don't have to must pick Orisa. Let's keep Orisa where Orisa's at, and I'd be happy with that, okay? This is as of the current Orisa nerf. Changes might help Ball, but I'm skeptic. They keep buffing the wrong things about Ball. Healing passive is going to help him a lot. Yeah, I don't know where that's going to go with Wrecking Ball. I'm actually slightly concerned with the lockout phase now. They're increasing it so you get locked out more when you're getting pile drived. I'm a little bit concerned that it might be a bit of an overtune at this point because I think they're just throwing a bunch of stuff at Wrecking Ball to make Wrecking Ball way more relevant, but then you get to a point where it just becomes overtuned. And with Wrecking Ball benefiting from this healing passive, that's a little bit concerning because now you have in the team fight, way more Wrecking Ball, who also has a bunch of other buffs. Could be an overtuned situation. Good news is that if it ends up being that way, they can just nerf Ball going into Season 11. But yes, that passive will benefit Ball greatly, and don't be surprised to see Wrecking Ball get a lot better. These armor changes are also nerfs for Reaper, Bastion, Soldier, Torb, Hog, Ramatra, etc. Very interested to see how the meta shuffles around. Winston's armor bypass might be really good. Winston's armor bypass will be good. Some of the heroes you mentioned, if they have a projectile, they might be pretty decent against a projectile. But yeah, any hero that basically struggled against armor or struggles against armor will get worse a little bit. But any hero that benefits against armor will get better. So we'll see. Next one we have here is from Tim. My only concern is a lot of these tank changes don't do much for Doom. He has no armor, so these changes don't matter at all. He's tied for lowest HP, so the HP regen won't do all that much for him. Knockback reduction could actually hurt a bit more and help him in some circumstances. So all he really has pure benefit-wise is the headshot. Yeah, I mean, but I think that's because Doom is in a spot where, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think Doomfist is more in a bug fix scenario where Doom will benefit from bug fixes more than Doom will benefit from anything else right now. I don't think they need to buff Doom outside of maybe make the ultimate actually do something. I meme about that because the ultimate, no matter how much they've tried to make it do more damage, it just tickles them and they get healed. But I think overall, like, Doom is in a spot where if you play Doom well, you can play Doom well even with these changes to begin with. So I think it's more it's going to be the bug fixes that make Doom more consistent, because that's the issue, right? Doom runs into consistency issues. Like, you slam one time, it works. You slam 2 feet to the left, there's a small little like ledge that doesn't rise up somehow, and then you get no benefit, right? That is where Doom will benefit from those changes. I don't think Doom needs aggressive changes. I think Doom just needs to have a lot of these like the consistency issues that happens with Doom just be fixed. So, all right, next we have Shettle and Shanty, I think. Mercy's in such an awkward position because she's technically terrible, but if she gets buffs to her healing, her res, or even her GA, then she'll feel like an absolute nightmare to play against. Mercy's definitely struggling. I mean, I've talked about this in my recent videos with Spectate, and Mercy definitely is in a tough spot because the 20% healing reduction makes it difficult. You can't keep your tanks alive. You're forced to either keep up your DPS, but then the DPS is also going to constantly have the 20%. There's something they have to figure out with Mercy, and I don't know what that is, because you could buff the healing, but then, like, then you're just almost... You'd have to buff it to a point that counteracts the DPS passive, but a lot of the reason why they added the DPS passive was to be able to follow up on tanks and kill pocketed targets, right? There's definitely things they need to fix for Mercy. What that will be, I don't know, but I'm sure it's starting to get to the point where we'll be on a priority, because I think you're seeing more and more requests for Mercy to get those changes. So I'm sure that there's something with Mercy right now on the drawing board that they're trying to figure out, and maybe Season 11 will introduce that. Maybe the mid-season patch will. Maybe they, you know, maybe they do. I don't think they mentioned Mercy in the blog, but yeah, Mercy definitely needs a little bit of help for sure. Chris says, only Overwatch, since Overwatch 2 was released, do I keep hearing we are back, thrown almost every patch update. And then it turns out it is never back, but the people still play it. So either it's never lost, it's back, or it's lost it long ago and players just continue to delude themselves. What do you mean? This mid-season patch, we're so back. Are you kidding me? This next patch, we're back. Like, this is the patch. We're so back. What are you talking about? To give you an idea, it's just a bit of a meme, I think, at this point. I think everybody just has fun with that, with we're the so back. In any type of game like this, there's always going to be great moments where the game's going to have some really cool patches, and there's going to be moments where the game needs patches, and people are going to not enjoy it as much. Any of the, what do they call them, live service games struggle with that now, right? Even Fortnite will. Fortnite has such a huge player base, and they'll have moments of where people just aren't playing it right now or playing it as much because they're just waiting on a patch, you know? There's always going to be those moments. There's always going to be that in any of these, like, free-to-play live service games. So the we are back, the we are so back thing, I think becomes more of just, like, a fun thing to say when you see these patches. But yeah, I mean, obviously, the expectations are a little bit different than that. So to just summarize, we're so back. All right, now we have gulps. Solutions to problems caused by solutions to problems caused by solutions to problems caused by solutions to problems, caused by solutions to problems, yeah, isn't that like anything, though? When it comes, like, isn't that something that, like, and keep in mind, I don't know much about coding, but don't a lot of, like, engineers say that, like, when you fix one thing, it just breaks another anyway, and you have to just keep fixing those things regardless? Like, you have a game with, what, 40 heroes now? Anytime you change one thing is going to lead to something else just kind of, like, breaking, and then you're just going to be in a rinse and repeat mode, right? I think a lot of players always talk about, oh, the game needs to be fully balanced. It will never be fully balanced. There is too many things that happen in this game. There is the only way you could maybe ever get the game to a full balance is either A, you don't change anything for a long time, which we saw that with Overwatch 1. Nope, I'm good. 2 is if every map was made the exact same way. If it was just a reskinned map, and that was it. Because maps can change, right? Maps can change how a hero is played. What heroes are strong. All of these different variations of stuff. So, like, no matter what they do change-wise, you'll never get that perfect balance. Which is why I preferred the more just, hey, we'll change things consistently and more aggressively than the just wait 6 months before we change stuff. We saw how it went in Overwatch 1. That's when a lot of players left because you got stuck in these metas for a year long. So, I get what you're saying, but it's gonna happen. In Overwatch, it's just gonna happen. Like, you're just not gonna, there's never gonna be a fully balanced game with that. And I think that's okay. It's just how frequently you change it so it feels fresh to people. Next, we have Bacchus saying an anti-nade is still gonna be the hit E in the general direction of a tank to delete ability, but these changes will definitely help. You know, it used to be that way, but I feel like Kiriko is such a, I don't know what the pick rate on Kiriko is, but let me tell you what, if you're in top 500, if you don't see a Kiriko, you're like, wow, this is a treat. Yeah, I think Kiriko just completely nullifies any of that. Kiriko is just Kiriko. Kiriko has played so much now. I think Kiriko is probably the most submitted spectating I get too. Kiriko. That's pretty much what you're gonna see the whole time. Kiriko's gonna Suzu. Oh, Suzu. Oh, Suzu. Oh, you naded the Kiriko? Swift step. Oh, Suzu. Oh, you got a good nade off. Oh, they could Tsu nade, so now you can't do anything anyway because they have to run into you. Casper says, are we getting reduced CC duration as well? Because I think that's a really important factor for not feeling that you're paralyzed during a team fight. No, probably not. I think they're just reducing how much you get booped. The reason why boop got so bad for tanks is because you're the focus on most of the boops, and most of the heroes they add now that have CC is a boop. So when you're getting chain booped like 3 or 4 times, you're not going anywhere. So I don't think they're trying to reduce like the duration of it. I think they're just trying to reduce the movement you get, right? Like, obviously, you barely get stunned in the game, right? There isn't as much like hard CC now, believe it or not, and people do meme about it. It is a lot of soft CC now. So like, I think the knockback reduction will be really good. It may not feel good for Lucio players because obviously like, or like players who can boot people far, but like, to give you the flip side of that as a tank player, it became such a frustrating experience to get constantly booped because you're the main target as a tank that like something needed to be done to make it so it changed a little. At least that's how I see that, right? So, yeah, I don't think they'll do a reduced CC duration unless it becomes ridiculous or they start to introduce hard CC again. Hard CC is just considered stuns. So unless they reintroduce that to the game, I don't think it will be... I don't think they'll add that because like the CC itself is more boops anyway, so it's more to benefit what's there. Yeah. My opinion is this hurts tank enjoyment even more. Like, the problem with most tanks are that they are bullet sponges with little skill expression. They need to nerf tanks' inherent value, health pools, and add/edit abilities to make them more skilled and stronger when used correctly. Value of a tank shouldn't just be on survival due to health. Yeah, but then you might as well just make him a DPS character at that point, which some could argue you already do. Like, at that point, like, I don't think you want to... And I think somebody just mentioned it, like Roadhog, right? Like, Roadhog is a hero that, from a teamwork point of view, barely benefits your team, and it is probably one of the most frustrating experiences for players to play against, right? And what's another hero we saw recently that was more about just, like, cooldown management and stuff like that was Orisa, right? And people, the frustrated moment was Orisa. Same with Mauga, right? So I really don't think they want to go down the route of making it so these heroes do that. Otherwise, you're just creating another DPS character. And I'm telling you right now, it would just end up being, tanks would end up dominating at a certain point because you would just have 300 HP, 400 HP tanks that just dominate. And listen, as a tank player, it sounds great to be able to just go and make these amazing plays and do all this stuff. But I want to see people play the game and enjoy the game. And I've seen what it's like when a tank dominates. People just go and play other stuff. So I want to see a good balance between the roles. And generally, even Season 9 with where tanks were at, I enjoyed Season 9 because it felt like people enjoyed the game again because they could do more. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to be the play on that one. I get what you're trying to go for. And I agree that, like, adding more HP now at this point. I've seen people be like, oh, why don't they just add more HP? Because you can't get back to full HP anyway. So, at that point, there's no... Like, the HP's fine. I wouldn't worry about it. And I think, yeah, trying to make them be more like the Roadhog style of tank, I just don't think will go well. And then on to the last YouTube comment and last part of this video we have from Contra saying, too long, didn't watch. Oh, come on, you gotta watch the whole video. That's watch time on YouTube. Are you kidding me right now? What the heck? No tank isn't saved. They literally just buff every single thing that makes tank sweep games bad, but also didn't do anything to counter tanks getting hard counter rolled. The solution being 6v6 gets continually supported by these dog water buffs. What? No tank isn't saved. They literally just buff every single thing that makes tank sweep games bad. But also didn't do anything to counter tanks getting hard counter rolled. Dude, what? Was this you just saying you want 6v6? I don't understand this. I'm so confused. I just don't know where to go with this one. Because I don't know what the... If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to all 3 YouTubes if you haven't. We like to do the YouTube reacts here. So make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below with hot takes you have, thoughts you have. We're going to be doing more of these frequently if you end up liking them, which so far people have liked them. Been a lot of fun. We also record these live on stream for the most part. Stop by. We have a lot of fun here. And with that being said, I hope you have an amazing day/night.